thanks for joining me. I am Alex. I am a mom of three. I am a former teacher. I have my master's in special education, and now I have taken my love for teaching and brought it home. I have been out of the classroom for several years, and now I'm homeschooling my boy who's 5. He's in kindergarten. I also have a 3-year-old. We do preschool at home, and I have a 1-year-old. And this channel is all about empowering you to homeschool if it's on your heart. I get a lot of questions on my Instagram. By the way, my Instagram handle is Alex Low Lifestyle. Go follow me if you don't already. But I get a lot of questions about homeschool. A lot of moms who are very interested in it, but just a little nervous. So my goal with this channel is just to empower you if it's on your heart. And tonight's video is all about one of my most popular questions I get asked. It's a hot topic. It is, am I worried about my kids not being socialized since I'm homeschooling? And first I want to say I understand that question. I am never offended by it because I think it's a common thing that we think with homeschooling is they don't have that everyday or 5-day-a-week interaction with school-age kiddos. So I understand that question. And I think it's probably a lot of homeschool parents, their concern, or it's a topic in their mind as well. Now, I'm going to address some of the things that we do to go about this and some of the things we plan to do. And there's, I'm sure, a million different ways, but this is what me and my husband feel very comfortable doing around this topic. So first is, we do have 3 children and they do play. They're all within 2 years apart. So I have 1, 3, and 5-year-old, and they play a lot together. And we play outside a lot. They play with neighbors a lot. So they do get that time together, to that play-based learning together. And if I had an only child, it would be a little different, of course. But first, I will say we're very blessed that we have 3 kids within 4 years, and they get to play together. But one of the main things that we really prioritize in this house, and this is whether our kids are in homeschool or whether they were in a traditional school, would be extracurriculars / sports. So a lot can fall under the umbrella of extracurriculars, but for us, we're a big sports family. I danced and cheered growing up. My husband did about every sport possible. And that's really what we want for our kids. We want our kids to be able to experience all of that and pick what they really love. Maybe they end up loving dance or an instrument or something totally different from us, and that's totally okay. But I believe every kid, whether they're in school or whether they're in homeschool, should be in some sort of extracurricular. And I know I know it gets expensive, so I know it's not always possible, but it's so good for kids to get into sports and learn team building and learn sharing in a different way and just have that outlet. So extracurriculars are really big for us. Our son has done t-ball and soccer and gym class. He is starting hockey here next week. So that is our extracurricular. Being that we have 3 kids, we have a rule that they can each be in 1 extracurricular a season. So there was a time where my son was in like 3 things, and when I had 2 kids at the time, it was kind of crazy. But when I had my 3rd, unfortunately, that's one of the things that we had to change. I said, okay, just 1 at a time. And you know what? It works really well for us. Once a week is perfect for us. So we do dance for my daughter, and my son is going to be doing hockey. He might be doing soccer or flag football in the spring. It doesn't matter, but extracurriculars, they get to play with kids their age. They get to learn so much. So that is the first thing. I really like them to go once a week, so that way they get that. All right, next up is park. Take them to the park. Take them to play areas. If you have like an indoor play area, a children's museum, or an indoor like coffee shop play area place. Also too, most of the cities I've lived in have a rec center, and they'll have or the library will have some sort of story time. I know for us at our local areas, they have like toddler story times or school age story times, homeschool story times, as well as art classes and things like that you can sign up. So I highly recommend getting your kiddos into that if you're worried about the socialization. I know by us, we have a ton. If I just Google homeschool classes or homeschool like extracurriculars for homeschool kiddos, so much comes up. So I highly recommend you checking out the local library and seeing what they have. And then you could connect with other homeschool families through that. But that's a free option for a lot of people. So that's great. And just going to the park and meeting other homeschool families, because I guarantee you they're there midweek, midday too. If they're homeschooling, I'm sure that or whoever's there midweek, midday, I guarantee you is homeschooling. All right, next step is we really are outside of our house like every day getting that fresh air. We do something called the 1,000-hour challenge. If you do not follow the 1,000-hour challenge on Instagram, I highly recommend it. It was like life-changing to find as a parent. But we essentially spend 1,000 hours a year outside minimum. It averages out to about 3 hours a day. When it's really cold or really hot here, we don't spend that long outside, so we kind of even it out throughout the year. But by the end, it's 1,000 hours. And being that we do that, we always are seeing our neighbors. So we just recently moved, but in our old neighborhood and this neighborhood, we've met neighbors, and my kids play with the neighbors, if not every day, a handful of times a week. And so that's a great way for them to get outside, play with their friends outside. And I know that's not always an option for everybody, but again, this is just what we do. And then lastly, there is an option of co-ops. So co-ops is essentially for homeschool families, and they run in different ways depending on which co-op you're looking into, but usually they're anywhere from like 1 to 3 days a week. I personally like the option of 1 day a week because I homeschool so that way my kids can be home with me and we can spend that time and I can be their main teacher, right? So I know a lot of people who do the 3 days a week, and that's great for them if that works for them. But I do think a co-op is a great opportunity for your kid to be socialized in that technically kind of school environment, but also co-ops can look a little different. I know for us, we have co-ops at our local aquarium. We have like a science class co-op. Like co-ops can get really fun because you can really find one that fits the needs of your kiddo and their interests. And like my son loves science and just being active and being hands-on. So we are currently looking into co-ops, and we've tried an equestrian one. So he got to learn all about horses and ride horses and take care of horses. He loved that. We've done a science class one. He really loved that one as well. But I think it's important for a co-op for the parent to love it and love the people that your kiddo is spending time with just as much as the kid. So I haven't found those two. I just didn't love the people that were leading it as far as the role models he would have. And so we're still looking. There's one specific one. Of course, I'm not going to say for privacy reasons, but I really want him in it. And there's a wait list. We're a little too late. We moved to this area after the enrollment had already started. So we're on a wait list, but I just pray that we get in. Anyways, and we're still looking for a co-op. So that's very much something I recommend if you want to homeschool. And it also gives you a break for a couple hours a week. I know that most of the co-ops by us are anywhere from like 9 to 1 or 10 to 2. So it gives you a break. And if you have other kiddos, it gives you that one-on-one time with them. But then they're getting that socialization. They're around those other kiddos. So all that to say is there's so many options. Don't let the idea that your kids are going to be like awkward homeschool kids or not be socialized enough stop you from homeschooling, because it's 2024. There are so many options that you can do. These are what we're doing, and there might be so many other things that you want to try as well, but these are the things we really focus on, and it works really well for us. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and check out my other videos. If you have any requests for future videos, please drop them in the comments. I would love to talk about it. Have a great night.